Vietnam, very early morning indeed, because I think it's in the middle of the night right now for you over there. But unfortunately, with all these weeks being so incredibly, well, quick, I guess, and so much VCS to cover, we are scrambling to even find a spot for the podcast. So here we are, just trying to squeeze it in on the Monday after finishing our fourth week of VCS. We are through or we are actually starting the second half of the regular season already. Everyone has played 8 games, or 8 series, I should say, more than 20 games actually for every single team. And we are closer to the players. It's still 6 series away, but this is a good time to check in. I'm very happy to have Milky with me twice in a row now on a podcast. It's getting a little bit too milky over here, but we're very happy to have him. And then, of course, Clockwork making his return. How are you on this lovely evening?
I'm good.
Finally.
Sorry, Clockwork. Do you want to go first?
Oh, thank you. Finally, I can take part into a podcast. I've been back to enjoy summer, but VCS has been so fast-paced and filled with games that I barely had any time to make an appearance. So finally, I can be part of it again.
Yeah, you're right. I was really happy to be here, but I've been a bit caught off by you lying. You're happy to have me on for a second time? What is this nonsense? I am committed to the art of roasting, especially non-believers of the Eddie fan club.
I hope you didn't listen to us analyze Eddie and Team Secret on Sunday, because I think it was Eddie slander from start to finish.
Series actually. Yeah.
We can go back to ADC ranking a little bit later, because we actually discussed that on broadcast on yesterday actually. But let's actually start with the most important part, I think, because
your haircut.
My haircut. Oh, well,
it's quite nice. I like it.
Good. Thank you very much. I like your hair a lot too. Actually, we have maybe the 3 coolest haircuts here on VCS English.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh no, okay, Carrix is still there. I don't think I can beat Carrix.
I think Quincy's like a close fourth. Quincy's got good hair going.
Yeah. Actually, I think Carrix and Quincy probably both have better haircut than I do. So, maybe not.
VCS.
We're trying.
Casting talent, hairstyle ranking.
Right, enough of the podcast. Who cares about VCS? Let's start talking hairstyles.
No, let's actually get back on track and to talk playoffs, because this is now, we are halfway through, even more than halfway through actually, and playoffs is approaching very quickly. We still don't really know if it's 4 or 6 teams. Apparently 6, but some people say 4, but I think it's probably 6. So we'll work under the assumption that it's gonna be the same as the last 2 years, which was 6 teams in playoffs in the summer split. So, or actually only in 2020, because it didn't happen in 2021. So, yeah, we're still not entirely sure. VTV or VCS in general has been a little bit slow on announcing how many teams. We actually on Wikipedia, it's actually only 4 teams. So, make of that what you want. We have no idea, but both are interesting to talk about. I think for me personally, I would like to see a 4-team bracket, because I just like the extra value placed on regular season performance. But regardless, who is gonna make playoffs? Let's just start there. Very basic question, Clockwork. I'll go to you first. Who's gonna make playoffs right now, if you had to predict from this very moment, the VCS?
Okay, so the thing is, this question is just as hard regardless if the spots are 4 or 6. Because the league has been so close and so unpredictable that however you're in spots, it will still be a tough fight to get into there. So I'm assuming 4, just because of ease of discussion. And Team Secret is just 1 win away to lock in their playoff spot. They have already 7 wins, and you lock in at 8. So I think basically they will win 1 series. Consider how they played so far. GAM and SPTC are kind of on different trajectories at the moment. SBTC was in a very hot streak and then it got burned down, and GAM kind of resurged. Buffalo too. I think we were almost about to figure out how these teams were playing in the first half, but then when 12.13 hit, GAM and Buffalo switched all over again and went on full Springs gear. And now, if I had to pick four, it would be Team Secret, GAM and Buffalo, second and third, probably.
Your way, has Clockwork died for you as well?
Clockwork is on the verge of disappearing. We might have to actually
Oh no.
put on like a static image because it's a little bit of a struggle over here.
I think you could just leave it. His camera's practically static anyway.
it's kind of true.
In that case, I'll actually Clockwork. Are you back to finish your point?
Okay, no. When did you stop hearing me?
We heard something. I honestly I can't remember your way. You mentioned Buffalo making it, and I don't think you had mentioned who you thought the fourth team would be.
Okay, so in my opinion, at the moment, Secret is locked. I'm assuming they will keep number one. Then it will be GAM and Buffalo at second and third interchangeably, and then SPDC as fourth. That's my.
Secret, GAM, SGB, and SPTC. So in your players bracket, Cerberus is missing, conspicuously.
Cerberus is missing.
Interesting.
I did not like their recent weeks. I did not like their indecision who to start. Even if there's a duo that is clearly better than the other, they're still confused about who to start. I don't like that. And I don't think at week 4 out of 7, you should be undecided like that.
What about you, Melky? Do you agree?
So
same
one
teams?
thing I can say, first of all, is I do disagree with what Clockwork said, which Clockwork said, and I quote, it would be equally as hard to say who'd make playoffs if it was a 4 playoffs or 14 playoffs or a 16 playoff. That is rubbish, because if it's a 14 playoff, you've got a 75% chance of getting it right. If it's a 16 playoff, you've only got a 50% chance of getting them right. Because let's be honest, Team Secret are 7-1, they're making it. GAM are also going to make it. And as much as maybe people don't want to accept it, SBTC are making it. They are the top 3 teams in the league, and I'll die on that hill. So I call those 3. And then I think it's between Saigon, Buffalo, and Wales. But I think Buffalo are going to take it.
Wales!
I disagree with most of what you said, of course, but I
like that.
You also disbelieve the Cerberus.
Wait a second, Wales? Where the hell did Wales come from? Wales is so far away from making playoffs, in my opinion. They're one of the worst teams right now.
Hang on, Clockwork. Can we do the thing like the handshake through the screen, and then we can like edit in the meme of just agreeing that oh my god, agreeing that Cerberus aren't going to make playoffs. So, like, you know, you've got to do like the. You've got to do it to the side of your door. No, the other way.
Okay, so like this.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
High
there we
art.
Go, perfect.
Yeah, I mostly agree. I think more with Clockwork than with you, Milky. I'd say.
Understandable.
Always. I mean, that's a baseline. Though agreeing with Clockwork is also very, very dangerous. So I'm not sure how well my bases are covered here. But I'd say GAM and Secret are very easy predictions as well. I definitely agree with you there. Very likely to make playoffs. I'm not so sure on SPTC. They've looked pretty shaky the last 2, this week especially. They went 0-2. They lost against Secret. Okay, acceptable somewhat. And against GAM. So the 2 teams that are probably locked for playoffs. So it's not the worst teams to lose to. They're playing GE, which should be fine. They have an advantage, so maybe SPTC makes it, but not sure. I would pick SGB over SPTC. Looking at recent performance, I thought SGB looked better. So I'd say GAM...
Yeah, but no. Hang on.
They're only one series behind. It's not like they're hugely behind in points. Like
so,
it's pretty close.
Right. I see what you're saying, your way, but SPTC went up against the other 2 best teams in the league. Meanwhile, Cyclone Buffalo
They did
went
not,
up
though.
against ASE Sports and the very uninspiring Cerberus.
Yeah,
You can't
that's...
compare recent performances like that, I feel. That's just out of context.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. The way SPTC lost some of their games, especially against Secret, just disappointed me a lot, because I think SPTC should have definitely won that series. They basically just egoed their way to a loss for no reason whatsoever. They stomped game 1 and Team Secret looked completely out of sorts there. Then game 2 they just egoed Gragas mid lane, and they did it again in game 3, and it looked pretty horrible. So I don't know. SPTC is a team that's talented enough to make it, and they should make it, but somehow, just looking at this team and the chicken logo, I remember all the splits where they didn't make it and imploded, so... I think I'd still take them over Cerberus, but it's close. I don't think Wales has any chance of making it. I think Wales is the worst team-fighting team in the league. GE is just not good enough, and AS Esports is too far behind, and also their solo laners are not good enough. So I think those 3 teams for me are kind of out of the question. Though OG is cool to watch, but
Clockwork. Actually, I'm gonna ask Clockwork this. Did you know that Team Wales have only lost a single series 2-0 this split?
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Against who did they lose that?
Genius.
Oh crap.
I just want to highlight because Team Wales, I thought Team Wales looked kind of good against Scam on the weekend. I didn't see their series against ASC Sports that they ended up losing.
yeah,
but
it was an ADC difference. You should watch that game because it was very hype for OG and it was really bad from Variety. You do not want to believe in this team and the teamfight meta when you look at Variety's positioning, because holy moly.
Especially now that Sivir is back into the meta. See, like Sivir and Kalista, you cannot allow yourself to position badly because you're just out of the team fight altogether. So yeah, that is kind of weighing hard on Team Wales' chances.
So I want to say as well, just to clarify things, I don't think that Saigon Buffalo are battling with I don't think they're battling with Team Wales over Cerberus for that spot because Team Wales are a better team than Cerberus. I think they're battling for that spot with them because Cerberus are a consistent team, but they're not consistently good enough, is my thought. And Team Wales are a little bit coin flippy. Yes, Arietti is a weak link. Just put him on Sivir and Senna for God's sake. But I think that they can coin flip high enough that they could upset it. Whereas I don't see Cerberus upsetting Saigon Buffalo at this current point in time.
I mean, they literally can't in this split anymore because they already played Saigon Buffalo twice. But I see your point. I was very disappointed with it. I'm not actually sure if I'm... Do I call it disappointed when Saigon Buffalo just looked absolutely amazing and ultra clean against Cerberus? Am I disappointed in Cerberus? I guess to a certain degree, they should be more competitive, but then again, Saigon Buffalo probably had the highest level of play we have seen all split so far in that series, so not really sure why I come down there, but yeah, overall, Cerberus just looks... For me, the biggest issue with Cerberus is just that they freaking have to decide on a roster. There's not enough time left. They just need to decide on one roster, stick to that, actually build some synergy, because it's not slowing down. They have to play Wales and Secret next week, and they have to win those series, especially against Wales.
I think I speak for everyone when I say just pick one OP.
Yeah. Well, Cuba hasn't even been bad, and I think it makes sense to start him when the enchanters are. My big issue, and I said it every time I'm on broadcast, and I will keep saying it, is that Leash is not proactive. He's like doing half the things Drakthar could, and Pan is way not more reliable than Poss, because Poss is a good player still. He doesn't lose lane. He allows Cerberus to give him a lane that he can win. But the huge difference is how active the two junglers are or aren't, because he does things and Leash doesn't, which makes a huge difference when your plan is to go scaling, as Cerberus tried to do specifically against Buffalo, but many times they just go for team fights. But when you get dismantled in the early game, lose all teams and maybe like even 2 or more towers before 15 minutes, you don't get to late game. So that's a big issue in my opinion.
Question for the two of you: did you follow the channel on VCS English Discord, and did you see the translation of the Saigon Buffalo player interview after the Cerberus series?
No.
No,
What
you
happened?
didn't, Belky.
Yeah, I
you
did,
need
I
to
did.
check it out. Okay, so Clockwork knows what I'm talking about. But to summarize Saigon Buffalo's feelings, or their players' feelings about Cerberus's players, they said on camera in the interview on VTV, as far as I understood, they said the following: Vietnamese players aren't bad, Korean players aren't bad, just Poss and Leash are bad.
Fire.
Yeah.
Bro, they can't kill them like that. Holy shit. Oh
Just
my god.
murdered live, like
Literally.
insane.
Well, that's what Saigon Buffalo thinks about that roster. I tend to agree with them. I don't think Poss is bad. Leash is very
Funny
uninspiring.
how they lost to them in week 1 though.
True. I mean, they were also pretty bad, yeah. But yeah, I don't think Leash has been anything really. It hasn't shown anything really, and their communication just doesn't look good enough. So I want to see them commit to all the Vietnamese players and just build some synergy. If you lose some lanes in top lane, who cares? You were the best team fighting team in the winter. Just try to get back there. You still have Artemis Ronopi, right? It should be alright. You should be able to compete in the ADC, in this ADC position, right?
Could I just quickly say, how busted do you think Team Wales would be if they got Artemis?
Ooh.
And or Ron OP? If you think that's necessary, I personally think CBL's been really good, but throw Ron OP there as well. Like, that team looks scary.
That is a wet team. That is a very wet team. It will be a fantasy until 2023 because off-season needs to happen. But I think that, unironically, like Artemis should maybe start looking elsewhere because, like, Cerberus isn't giving him the success that he deserves. You want to split in winter where half the teams didn't really play up to the standards. And aside from that, he's not winning anything with Cerberus. So better get in some other teams.
Yeah. Or, I mean, your way would be thinking, imagine if he goes to Team Secret, but I believe in my boy Eddie for now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Artemis, they gave him the title, right? And
True.
it's the only team to win a title next to GUM, and I mean, if you go back to 2020 Flash as well, but GUM basically dominated the league for the last 2 years, not only in regular season but also in players, until Winter Split, where Cerberus just was the best team from regular season to players to the final. They just won everything, so the ceiling is still kind of there, hopefully. It's just a little bit weird.
I mean, let's be honest, it's not. They don't have Ego anymore.
It's true, yeah. I mean, Ego is a huge piece, and with Ego leaving, maybe Artemis should also look for other options. I'm interested to see what Artemis wants to do in the off-season. But the problem is all the bigger teams he could go to, all the huge star lineups, GUM, SGB are probably the 2 biggest teams he would lay his eyes on. Don't really need an ADC. Like, Artemis might be an upgrade over Style, but not a big enough upgrade for GUM really to consider the trade, I think.
Right. It's a bit of a forgiven situation where he, in the LEC, he wanted to play for a good team, but all the good teams did not use an AD carry. So, very awkward
ADC is
position.
stacked. ADC is just super stacked in VCS right now. It's insane.
Yeah, apart from 2 teams, but actually, sorry, 1 team, but no comments on that team.
Well then, let's move on to discuss which of the teams right now, not talking about players' predictions, we can do those separately later. But at the current state of the league, which is the best team in the league? Eye tests, statistics if you have them, whatever. If everyone played a game against everyone in the tournament right at this moment today, who would win?
So can I give like 3/4 of an answer?
Sure.
So if Elio was still playing, I'd say Secret, but B has returned to Gam. So I genuinely think that change is enough for me to say Gam, but I think I'm still like 50-50 on Gam and Secret. Like I don't know. I just don't know. That's my answer your way. I don't know. Are you happy?
It's a great sign for the league if you don't know halfway through the split. I think that's actually a very hype answer. It's not a clear answer, but I think it's reasonable. Secret has looked really good. Gam has looked resurgent recently, so makes sense to me. Clockwork, where do you land?
I have a similar indecision as to Milky. As I said before, probably you didn't hear me through lag. But this recent week on 12.13 changed a lot of things on how teams play. So I have to answer the question as you were asked it, which is right now. And right now, I don't believe Secret is the best team. They have had a couple of quite awkward series. They managed to win way less convincingly than they did in the past. So my decision would be between Gam and Buffalo. They are the hot team at the moment. They are on a hot streak, and aiming to get top two, both of them. So my money, played on August the 1st, Monday, I would say Buffalo wins it.
Yes, there we go. Clockwork is a believer. Buffalo goes undefeated if they play a tournament right now. They just smash everyone in their path.
Yeah,
easy clap. They have the best players in all positions. It's an easy clap.
Gam is right there, but it kind of showed that they just took B out of the fridge, so he has to adjust a bit before getting warm enough.
Do you guys mind if we very quickly take a 2-hour break? Because I need to watch the Saigon Buffalo Cerberus series to find out what's happening, or if you guys are all just smoking some crazy stuff right now.
He came
was
unprepared.
A very powerful smoking thing during that series.
I want some
admit
of it.
it's both.
Okay, Milky. Yeah, you have to watch especially the second game to get on the hype train. But just look at the evidence as well, right? The last 2 weeks, we've complained about every single series going to 2-1 every single time against Ace Esports, against anyone. So, which team this week went 4-0 in game score? Not dropping a single game. It was not GUM, it was not Secret, it was not SBTC.
No, hang on.
It was Saigon Buffalo.
I've got an answer for you to your way for that. It's the same team as the team that had the easiest strength of schedule this week.
You might say that, but Cerberus was actually ahead of them in the standings, and Ace Esports won their other series, so it's not like they are a complete pushover anymore.
Well, I didn't see the series against Team Wells, but we know Team Wells like to coin flip, and apparently Uzi decided to channel Uzi. I just genuinely feel like, so I haven't seen the Cerberus series, but I just feel like you guys are going so high on Saigon Buffalo.
Always.
And
it's forever gonna be everyone's favorite team because they're so hyped to watch. They are just amazing. I just love them.
They lost to Genius last week.
Who cares, man? Who cares? They solo killed Gumayushi Carrier. Do we need anything else? No. The answer is no.
That's part of Yuwei's question. He asked if the tournament was played right now, not last week.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Nah, I reckon it's GAM. I think
that's a fair shout as well.
I actually think it's GAM SBTC Team Secret. Yeah, personally, I think
is that none of us really knows against each other. And by the way it looks, it seems we're getting the three of them, having best of fives in playoffs. So that's the best scenario for the Hypest VCS in a long time.
I am currently, this is maybe just hopium/copium for Saigon Buffalo, but if I look at GAM and Saigon Buffalo right now, I actually don't think GAM has a good matchup into them at the moment, because the way GAM smashed Saigon Buffalo in spring and won all their games in the final was through early game. They completely destroyed the Buffaloes in the early game. Every single game in the final was a 5k gold lead in 20 minutes. And they still managed to lose a game because Saigon Buffalo is the best team fighting team. They are freaking amazing when it comes to team fights. They are so good at finding engages, playing from behind. They almost won another game against GAM. Just 10k gold down, they found engages. And right now, GAM is not getting the advantages. So if they go even into the mid game, Saigon Buffalo drafts better because Ren is a genius. Hasmid right now is better than Kiaya. BeanJ is better than Levi. Bot lane might be even. Okay, B I think is better right now in terms of map plays compared to Taki. Mid lane is a wash because both don't really go for kills in the early game. So if they just go even into the mid game, I think Saigon Buffalo is the better team fighting team. So traditionally, GAM just smashed early game so hard through all their early game and topside power that Saigon Buffalo couldn't respond. But right now, I don't really see it happening. So that's why especially in that matchup, I actually think Saigon Buffalo is quite favored into GAM specifically right now.
I'm really looking forward now to a series between GAM and Saigon Buffalo, where the entire narrative going into each draft is going to be, does Froggy or Kati get their Galio pick so that they are enabled to roam around the map?
Hypest mid lane matchup of all time. Seraphine against Galio. Whoa.
I think Seraphine wins that matchup, right?
Probably.
They
Froggy
probably
wins
just don't do
both
anything.
sides of the matchup.
True.
Well then, let's quickly transition it to the next very close point. We talked about the current form. Let's try to project a few weeks into the future, maybe a month, because we're moving at a blistering pace here. So, if you take everything into consideration, which are the two teams going to Worlds this split? And maybe even predict a finals matchup if you want to, but the two teams to Worlds is good enough. It's so hard. 2 teams is even harder than 4 teams. We started with 4 teams, and 4 teams was hard already, but 2 teams is just insane.
I think...
So,
okay, you go.
No.
Your homework. Okay, fine. So, I think GAM wins the split. I think SBTC comes second. Then, I personally, from what I've seen so far, I would think that GAM would pick Saigon Buffalo. So I think that is GAM SBTC going to Worlds.
That is so crazy. What is this SBTC copium? Holy shit.
Like, okay, so, right, before Clockwork goes, I essentially just think SBTC and Team Secret, I think they've got very similar players in each role. And I think SBTC have slightly better players in each role than Team Secret right now. And I think this is also a new team that's come together, so they should theoretically be improving over the split as well, whereas Team Secret have been together already for a split. So I think there's still a bit more room for growth for SBTC, and I think they're better than Secret. As much as it pains me to say that, as a president of the Eddie fan club, yeah, I'm saying SBTC GAM for Worlds.
That's a juicy one. In my opinion, there's different angles you look at it. So if you take into account spring, of course, every one of us wants to see GAM and Buffalo at Worlds. But it would be really heart-wrenching to see Secret miss out. At the same time, if you look at current form, we would want to see for the best, performance world, then we might want to send Buffalo and Secret, which are the best performing teams at the moment. At the same time, wouldn't you send GAM, which has been the most successful team in the last 2 years? And there's a very real scenario where GAM just goes back to their level and Team Secret goes to Worlds with them. Buffalo, after making a Messiah, gets left out. all three scenarios would be at the same time so great and so heart-wrenching. Like, we spent 2 years with teams just trying to catch up GAM. The second seed was just like a toss-up between who got a chance to, even show up, because competition was not granted for VCS. And now we're suddenly in a situation where two seeds are too little, are too few. There's so many teams that have caught up to the level, and I fear that the competition will be very, very fierce. Well, it's not fear. I hope that the competition will be very fierce for the second slot. As I said before, if I have to look right now, then I would probably pick Buffalo and GAM. But my secret heart is crying at that.
So I just want to say, contrary to what you said, which is everyone wants to see Gam and Saigon Buffalo going to Worlds, that's not the case for me. Like, if I had to pick, if I was not being
Chicken.
like neutral, I want to see AS Esports and Team Wales going to Worlds, because that means some crazy stuff happened in the remainder of Split. And then I get to see Killer Queen taking every single 50-50 against Canyon or something in the group
Milky
stages.
chicken. Isn't milky chicken some Moroccan recipe or something?
Milky chicken? No.
Yeah.
I think there's a buttermilk fried chicken or butter fried chicken.
I don't know. I have
I've
to
heard
look
of
that.
milky chicken.
Yeah. Milky chicken. That's a
Is
good
what
dish.
happens
I
when
have
a
no
chicken
idea where
sits
we're
under a
going
cow
here.
for too long.
I'm a little confused.
I don't know where that came from.
It's almost dinner time. I'm hungry. I apologize.
So
And thirsty as well by the sounds of it.
if I had to pick right now, it's so hard. I mean, it's pretty boring, but I probably agree with you, Clockwork. If I had to put money on it, I just go with the two teams that have basically dominated most of the last few splits, which is GAM and SGB. I think they have the best coaching staff. I think they have the best players on average over the last few years. So I think it's the safe bet.
Yolway, did you just say the two teams that have dominated the last few splits?
Yeah, I mean, Saigon Buffalo GAM was the final in spring 2020-21, was the final in spring 2022. Not in winter, okay, but winter was kind of a weird split.
Playoffs in winter.
Yeah, but winter is a little bit of a weird thing to look at because it didn't really matter too much.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Neither did spring 2021 then either.
Oh, the spring 2021, they thought they would go to MSI,
Okay, fair enough.
but so it's saying they didn't try is also a little bit giving them too much credit. I think they definitely had some really bad performances looking at Froggy and BJ, but then again, it didn't really lead to anything. They recovered very quickly, so I'm giving them a little bit of a pass there. But I think Secret actually has a decent shot as well. My problem with SPTC is I think SPTC would go to Worlds in VCS 2 years ago. I think they actually would just straight up make Worlds with their current performance 2 years ago, because VCS 2 years ago was much more about just smashing your opponents, Zero's era, DR1 era, where everyone just slammed their lane opponents like Enper and DR1 are doing right now, and then macro didn't matter, you just rolled to victory. But the thing we're seeing more and more with this team is I'm not super convinced in their macro reads / coaching and discipline. Because to me, it seems like they are not really respecting opponents enough. They played against Team Secret this week, and they could have won that series, in my opinion. They were the better players on the Rift, but they lost because they egoed some picks, they had some really questionable decision making. DR1 just wanted to style on Artifact, which is stupid because Artifact is the best mid lane in the league. I just don't really see this team, kind of archaic VCS style, making it in the current meta. Maybe I'm giving macro evolution in VCS a little bit too much credit, but to me they're looking a little bit too raw, if you get what I mean. Like, their mechanics are great, Enper is hyped to watch, but does he really have to go for the third solo kill and kill himself to go for that kill? Not entirely sure.
He's still playing VCS. You have to abide by some rules.
What did Clockwork just say? I didn't hear it.
Something about struggles, I think.
He is still playing CS, so he has to follow some rules, which is
Right.
always
Okay.
try to skill check yourself.
That's true. Apart from unless you're Ariete, then you're just like, yeah.
Then
you win
please
the
don't do
CLJ,
it, yeah.
That's
Please,
fine.
please don't. Just play Seraphine bot lane, all games. Killer Queen's gonna carry you.
Sivir, Senna, Seraphine. And that's it.
Let's
Don't
go.
see you on anything else, buddy.
Triplet.
He can play Ashe.
Yeah, support Ashe, where you don't have to farm.
We're giving so much slack to Killer Queen. Oh, sorry, not so much slack. So much BM to Ariete.
Is it BM though? Is it?
Is this the point where Team Well say, okay, we're bringing Vit into the roster?
Is it BM if it's true?
So fortunately
Yes.
for us, Rebel is working right now. If he weren't, he would just spam the chat with ER right now, because that's the only thing he ever talks about when we bring up ADCs not in the league. It's just yeah.
Oh man, I remember when I was casting with Quincy on Yeah for the first time. And then we just came in like, yeah. Anyway. Sorry for the sidetrack, your way.
What's next? I heard that you want us to play some funny game, right?
Funny games.
Yes, let's do it. So this is something I came up with today in preparation for the podcast, because I thought this would be an interesting little spin on some of our opinions, and because we have already seen in the last 30 minutes that we differ greatly in what we think about the teams, also because most of the time Milky casts a lot of the early games of the week, and maybe we don't actually catch all of them, and then he doesn't catch all of the weekend games, so we have very different
It was
reads.
just this weekend.
Hey, I'm not calling you out. It's so many games. You can't just watch 20, 30 games every week if you want to follow other leagues as well. So that's totally fine. I'm just saying it's very interesting to hear you talk about the teams, because you just have a very different opinion on them by not watching everything.
That's a very interesting way to say that I'm completely wrong about all of my opinions.
I mean,
maybe
that's
we
true as
do.
well,
I
but
mean,
I didn't want to call you out like that. But now that you've done
I
it,
also watch just the weekend games and struggle to watch the weekly ones. So maybe it's me having the biased opinion. So
No, but could you imagine, right? VCS English, like next split, we have one broadcasting team. We have two broadcasting teams, right? One of them only gets to cast Saturday and Sunday. The other one only casts Thursday and Friday, and they're not allowed to like look at what happened in the other games. They just see the scoreline.
And then in players to the meet, and like, this player is complete garbage. And you're like, what? He just solo killed the best player 5 times. Yeah, that would be super funny. But this is where the idea came from, also because Milky had some interesting tier lists. So I thought it would be super interesting to not only hear the opinions, but also try to guess which were his original opinions, which is just a bait. So this game, I gave it the temporary, or I guess work in progress title, 2 Beasts, 1 Milky. So it's basically a spin on the 2 truth and 1 lie game. We have 3 opinions we present, and the other 2 are going to guess which of the 3, which 2 are actual genuine opinions we are actually having right now, and which is the bait. So Milky, do you want to start? Do you want to present us with your first triplet of opinions?
Okay. So right, we can so your options on which of the quizzes we go for is you can have a top lane one, you can have a jungle one, you can have a Gam one, or you can have a Saigon Buffalo one.
Oh, I'm hyped for the Saigon Buffalo one now that we've talked about them so much.
So
Let's go.
the Saigon Buffalo one is focused around everyone's favorite Saigon Buffalo player, Froggy. The following champions are all champions that he's played, or maybe there's one imposter. Your 3 options are Kled, Malphite, and Nautilus.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer.
Okay.
I
Didn't
think
make it hard enough.
he did play Kled. I'm pretty sure about that. It was Kled, Nautilus, and Malphite.
Malphite.
So I think Nautilus is the imposter here.
Wait, let me think a second. I might get I might be getting my mid laners wrong. He has definitely played Malphite. I'm 100% sure he has played Malphite in his career.
Okay.
Kled? Kled is more a Kiaya mid lane pick, but has Froggy played Kled as well? I can definitely see him play some Nautilus mid lane as well. Was Nautilus still in meta when he was playing, though? I mean, meta doesn't really matter for Froggy in the first place. He played Rammus
Also,
mid and Shyvana
we
mid.
should stress as well that Twitch chat, you guys can get involved as well, and let us know who you think the odd one out is.
Shit, that's such a good bait. Kled Nautilus has such good options.
I know. There were a lot of options because we're talking about Froggy
Yeah,
Sample.
yeah.
Like, we've got some really random stuff in there as well.
Rammus
Like,
mid. Easy clap.
Shyvana, yeah, Rammus. Actually, wait, where is the Rammus?
Why?
Wait,
I think it was in
Rammus is-
VCSB still, so it might not
okay,
show
the
up.
Rammus
Yeah.
isn't here. That would have been the best bait.
So Clockwork, you think it's Nautilus?
I think it's Nautilus.
I think I'll go Kled.
You think you'll go Kled? Well, I can reveal that neither of you are correct because it's the Malphite.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's played one game on Nautilus, one game on Kled, lost both of them.
No, you can't be serious. That can't be correct.
Go look on
What the
GameOfLegends.gg.
hell?
Yeah.
Insane.
Huh?
Good one, Milky.
That's
You
an
fooled
amazing
us.
bait. Holy shit.
You fooled us. But now
Let me get the fishing rod out.
I come with mine because I also have a favorite mid laner here. And I'm talking about Yado, right? We know Yado loves Ari. That's a common narrative, but how much? Okay, so the three facts, supposed facts, one is not, is number one, Yado's win rate on Ari is opposite to his win rate not on Ari.
Wait, this split or
2022,
okay?
so this year. Number two is that Yado has played 1/5 of all Ari games in the VCS.
Ooh,
And
holy.
number three is that Yado has the highest win rate in the VCS
On Ari, I assume.
on Ari.
Okay. So I'm just gonna straight away say I think that the final thing of Yado having the highest win rate on Ari is a fact because I think we were discussing on a previous cast about how Ari was Yado's Band-Aid champion.
It is, but I think it's still the bait answer, because
Well,
there's probably one dude with a one game 100% win rate in there.
But I'm trying to think. I know this split he hasn't dropped a game on Ari. And I feel like Ari hasn't got played a lot in this split. So I think he'd have more than a 1/5 win rate overall. And
wow, you think it's more than... Holy, yeah, it could be true, actually.
Well, think about it. It's like you've got 8 mid laners, right? So he'd have 1/8 naturally, and he plays a lot of Ari. So I reckon it'd be like at least a quarter.
I haven't thought about it like that. It's sounded like such a high percentage, but it's actually not that high of a percentage. You're right.
What was the first stat?
Pretty sure the first one is right. The first one is it's basically his win rate on everything else is the reverse of his Ari win rate. Which actually, if that's right, the last thing can't be 100% though, because he has definitely won games on something that's not Ari. That actually leads me to believe that it's still the third one that's bait. Or incorrect.
Okay, so I'm going in with the numbers. Yado's win rate on Ari is 13-4, which is 76%. And not on Ari is 11-23, which makes 32%, more or less. So yeah, the first one is true. He has opposite win rate, but not on the champion. Secondly, in 2022, there have been 48 plus 23, which is 71 total Ari picks. And, well, I already said the numbers before, so he does pick 1/5 of all the Aris in BCS.
Fair enough.
And the
71
third
Ari
one,
games.
right, total between the two splits. But he's still not the best Ari in the BCS because
He's
I
played one
believe
game. If it's 2T, I swear to God.
at least Froggy and Artifact have a higher win rate than him.
Get wrecked by
How many games
Froggy
have they
again,
played?
Milky. Get wrecked.
Wait, did you guess the first one?
No, I thought it was the third option, so I think I got it right.
Okay, I don't even know which one I ended up guessing. So.
Okay, I actually have a version that doesn't actually have a right or wrong. That's my version is just opinions here. So you
no.
kind of have to not only guess, not only assess which sounds ridiculous, but also which I don't believe as a person. So
Your way. If you give Gam, Team Secret, and Saigon Buffalo, and then say which two are going to Worlds, I'm going to kill you.
No. This is a little bit more sneaky. Okay, let's go. So, opinion number 1. If I had to build a team around one player in the VCS right now, I would choose Enper. Number 2. A team that didn't win a title in the last 2 years will win the split. And opinion number 3. Whoever goes into relegation this split will smash all the VCS teams.
So, which one do I disagree with the most?
Which one do you think I don't actually believe?
I think it's number 2.
Yeah, number 2. So, I personally think
But that would
the
entail that
first
you
one.
predict Gam,
I think the
right?
first one you said is most troll, and because I respect you as a color caster, your way, I don't think you'd say that it's smart to build a team around a top laner. Whereas saying that Gam won't win the split in the current state of the split, I think is almost reasonable. So I'm gonna take a bet and go with number 1 because of my faith for you as an analyst.
What about you, Clockwork?
I am picking number 2. I think you're entailing that Gams win the split, which is quite likely. So I think it's number 2.
Milky's correct.
Wow.
It's actually interesting that you would come to that conclusion because in splits past, I always actually pushed in all our games for Kiaya number 1 pick. Like I always pick Kiaya number 1. So I actually started with the top laner all the time.
Around him.
Yeah, I would definitely. I thought Kiaya was by far the best player in the league, which is definitely not true right now. So.
But, I'd just say, just because a player is the best player doesn't mean you're building the team around them.
I mean, I think you should always take the player that has the biggest difference to his...
I'm just putting my crown on for getting this one right.
Yeah, I think you should always take the player that has the biggest difference in his role to all the other players. Because while I think, for example, starting with an ADC, you could pick Artemis and have a really good start to the team. I don't think it would give you the biggest advantage over the others, because Shogun and Style and like all the other ADCs are also really decent options. So, but whatever. It's definitely not Enper for me, because he's way too coin flip. If I had to build a team around Enper, I would die every single day. My God,
who would you build a team around? Because for me, I know who I'd pick.
I think, I thought about this, and right now, I think it's... So there are 2 options for me. Actually, 3 options. So, if I just go by gameplay and completely ignore all the out-of-game factors, like health and age, I would pick B. Because I think B is the best support, and he has the best shot calling and the best map awareness. The problem is, he's pretty old already, and I'm not sure how long he's gonna continue playing because of his health issues. So, if I take those into consideration, I either take Taki or Beanjay, because they're super young, very, very good, and also shot callers, especially in Taki's case. So, yeah.
Fair. Artifact for
Very wise choices.
Artifact for you?
Yeah, I think so. It's close though.
Clockwork, do you have someone?
Killer Queen all the time.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, I'm
No,
playing the
no, no,
VCS.
no, no,
You
no, no, no.
nutcase.
I'm just gonna go full VCS.
No.
If I have to play in the VCS, I'm gonna go mad scientist with it. Killer Queen, get me to it. I want to make a team with like Emperor, Killer Queen, what's a coin flip mid laner? I don't know, Glory, maybe.
Blazes or
Blazes,
Yada.
Blazes, and then Eddie also there, coin flip.
How
this team,
dare you, celebrity?
and then I don't know, Rono P or someone that no, Palette. It's
Palette,
another
yeah.
like
I hate you,
absolutely
Clockwork. I hate you.
unpredictable,
Go away,
wacky.
please.
That is the most cursed team. I
Yeah,
would
it is.
literally
Indeed.
sweat blood to see them play.
That is cursed indeed. My God, please no.
Absolutely, like the VCS All Star.
And then we only
cannot
get Carrix
disagree.
and Clockwork to cast all the games, so we get to hear them flaming them every single time.
The recipe for evil.
Oh, starting with Killer Queen. Oh no. Imagine someone from an A coming over and just, oh, Killer Queen sounds like a good prospect. Let's build a team around Killer
You know what the scary thing is? That team that Clockwork just said could win this split. Like, genuinely could win
also
this
get
split.
relegated.
Or could get relegated, yeah. Depending if you're taking Blazers or Yada mid. Yeah. I don't think they'd get relegated, but I think they could win.
I don't think they
or
could
not make
win.
playoffs. Fair.
Mid is too bad. Nah.
Like, have you seen Blazers' like lane statistics? They're nuts.
Seen him int every single game he's playing?
Yes, I have.
That's pretty nuts.
I did say he's the worst mid laner in the split, and everyone was like arguing with me about it.
So, Clockwork, you have to leave right now.
Sadly, yes.
Milky, do we want to play another round without Clockwork, or do we call it a day for now too?
Look, I've got a whole page of these ready to go if I need to, so I'm good either way.
Yeah, let's play 1 or 2 more rounds. Clockwork, I'm very sorry. You soon?
Bye, and have fun in my step. And remember about, if you have a nightmare with this team that I just said, you can blame it on me. I'll be happy about it.
Yeah.
Enjoy and see you
We will
Saturday.
sue you for charges for like, I don't know what the
Mental
term is, but
harassment.
yeah, something like that. It's not okay to build a team like Killer Queen. No.
Have a bad night, everyone.
Thank you, Clockwork.
Bye.
Actually, that is the most coin flippy team that I can think of.
Starting with
Thing
Killer
is,
Queen is just
if-
cursed. Please
if it was
no.
in Spring Split, I would have said like coated top instead of Emperor.
Yeah, I actually had another question. Yeah, I'll actually give you this question. Let's go. So, a little bit of a spin on what you just said about the last team. Okay, my next 3 opinions are: a team of coated Killer Queen DR1 Slayer Taki could win the VCS.
Okay, well, hang on. I need to write that down. So you said
Coated
coated
Killer
yeah,
Queen
yeah,
DR1
yeah,
Slayer
yes,
Taki.
right. And you think that they could win? You're alleging that you think that
Yeah.
they could win.
They could
Okay,
win the
yeah.
VCS. Second opinion, Levi does not have the most VCS titles of all time. Well, it's not an opinion, that's a fact. So,
Okay.
either right or wrong. And
Yeah.
number 3, opinion number 3, Sustain Nurse will have almost no effect on the VCS.
So I believe what you say about the sustain nerfs because it's VCS, and I'm pretty sure we've discussed that before. Now, Levi having the most titles. Okay, so he won in spring. He won he won this year in spring. He won in spring last year. 2020, Gam didn't win any titles because that was a flash. 2019, Levi did win. Who's been on? So the thing is, the first thing that you said, was that for winning regular season or winning playoffs?
Oh, win the VCS, so actually the playoffs.
So I don't think you'd ever think a team with a coin flip player like Killer Queen and Coated could win playoffs. And after how much you've harassed me for my opinions on Slader, I therefore don't think that's the case. But I feel like Levi has won the most. Has Kiaya been on Gam? Levi did that trip to NA. So if Kiaya won a split when Levi was in NA, he'd have the most. So did you say that Levi has the most or doesn't have?
Doesn't have.
Doesn't have. So I think that's correct. So I'm going with the first one again.
Yep, you're right.
Okay.
I do think this team, with a very small adjustment, I actually think if you put Emperor in this team, I think they could win the VCS. Because I do think Slater, Taki... I mean, Slater... I used to be very high on Slater. I thought my opinion has kind of slowly gotten worse and worse, but I still think his highs are high enough. Taki's insane. If he hits his mark, Dia1 can be insane. Killer Queen the same. I like Killer Queen a lot as a player. I just would never pick him first in any kind of team building exercise. For me, Coated is actually the biggest coin flip of the team. I hate his coin flipping. He's so random. He can be the worst top laner. A bit, maybe, but I think it's mostly because the rest of his team is garbage, so you don't actually notice it that much.
I reckon this team would be better, again, with Emperor instead of Coated, but I think it'd be even better with Hero, because I think Hero's a bit more lane dominant than Emperor, and
not as coin flippy.
Queen. I mean, he did have that game against Kia's now.
In the end, he's still a VCS player, but
true.
Does not actually go under tower every single second of the game. So.
See, I understand you your way. I understand how you work.
Actually, true.
Speaking about Killer Queen's Lee Sin.
Wait a second. I just want to actually give you the answer to the second one, because Levi does not have the most VCS titles of all time. It's very close. He's one title behind. The player that actually does have the most VCS titles of all time is Slay. Used to play a lot of ADC back in the day. You also played some support, actually with Levi in one team. Slay has 6 VCS titles, and Levi has 5. Levi won both splits in 2017, summer 2019, spring 21, and spring 22. So Levi, if he wins this split, he actually ties for most titles.
So how many has Kiaya won then?
Kiaya didn't win a single title when Levi was away, so he only won the ones Levi won in the past few years as well. So he has 3 titles.
Oh, okay, fine. Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't even know what year Levi went over to NA, but I knew it was one of the years.
Yeah, 2018, I think he spent in NA, and then 2019 spring, he was in LPL or LDL. Barely played any games.
Fair. Okay, so my next one was on Killer Queen. So over Killer Queen's career, he has played 29 Lee Sin games. Only 29. I thought it was going to be higher. Do you think he has won 15 games on Lee Sin, 17 games on Lee Sin, or 12 games on Lee Sin?
Oh my god, this is so random. When did Killer Queen start in the VCS? He started last spring, but he didn't play that many games. Then he played the full split in winter, and they were actually pretty good in winter. So his winter win rate is probably something like 60% generally. In spring, they were pretty bad again, so that's probably something like 40% or less. The numbers were 12, 14, or 17?
12, 15, or 17.
Either 15 or 17, I'd say.
Okay. You are correct on that.
Probably 17.
That is the correct answer, yeah. 17. His win rate's actually been relatively consistent over every split. Apart from this split, where he has 100% win rate so far.
How many games?
5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he only played 1 game in spring 2021 on Lee Sin, which is...
That's very surprising.
Also, I did not realize that Killer Queen was only playing since season 11. I always thought he had been around for longer.
There he is, a super hyped new jungler that actually replaced... Who did he replace? One of the old guard junglers. Can't remember. But yeah, they were reluctant to play him full time in the first split, but then towards the end he kind of took over, and then in winter he was the starting jungler for Luxury.
Okay. I do have another one, which is on Carti. So I've got 3 champions, and on 2 of them, Carti has a 100% win rate, and on 1 of them, he doesn't. Your options are Vex, Corki, and Lissandra.
Wait, can you state the initial fact again? 2
So-
have 100% or 1?
2 of them have a 100% win rate.
Corki, Lissandra, and Vex.
Yeah.
I remember analysts talking about him being undefeated on Corki earlier the split. Now, I don't remember if that actually continued or if he broke his 100% win rate, but considering the fact he only had like 5 games at the point, probably played it like only 1 or 2 times afterwards, he's probably still 100% of it in Corki. Vex,
Okay.
he was the best Vex player in winter. Did he win every
Excuse me?
Spring.
Harvey existed?
Harvey was the best Vex player in his own little universe, I guess.
For the enemy team. He was
Lissandra, I can't remember him playing Lissandra. When did he last play Lissandra? Oh, that's super hard. I think he played too many Vex games to be 100% on her. He had an insane Vex, but I don't think he won every single game, so it's probably Corki Lissandra.
Corki Lissandra. So, Corki, 6 wins and 0 losses. So he's only played 1 game on Corki outside of this split.
Let's go. Yeah, that game was the first one of the winter finals, which was huge because Cerberus had no answer into it, so they had to ban it for the rest of the the series, because he solo carried that first game of the finals.
Now, Vex, he's played 7 games on. Lissandra, he's played 6 games on. However,
then it's Vex.
then it's, Vex, 7 wins, no losses. Lissandra, 5 wins, 1 loss.
Man, his stats are insane. Holy.
Yeah, they're really good on those champions. But we also got a question in the chat, Yolway. Do you want to answer that one?
What is your guys' opinion on Go? Well, there are 2 answers to this question, right? What's our opinion on his gameplay, and what's our opinion on Ego as well?
His ego.
As a person in the server, in the gaming house, in the team environment, which obviously is not great. So, I mean, as a player, he has proven himself. He is the one to break Levi's win streak. He's the one to challenge Levi and actually overcome it in players, which no other jungler, not even BJ, has been able to do. So, in terms of play, I mean, he's just straight up one of, if not the best young junglers in the VCS, or was when he was still playing. So I think in terms of plays, he's a huge X factor. He can play team fighting super well. He's very, very good on scaling junglers. He's pretty good on ganking junglers as well. He's just a huge playmaker and a great player to have in your team if you can ignore what he's saying. So in terms of play, he's great.
Yeah. I mean, my only comment on that is he's very good at putting down Rift Heralds.
You will never let it down.
I'm never gonna let that down. I call it an Ego Rift Herald from now on. That's it. I'm gonna get my debut cast in the LEC. I'm gonna be like, that's an Ego Rift Herald. And Vedius is gonna be like, Ego Rift Herald, what's that? And I'll go, well, Vedius, let me go into a long story about my time in the VCS and this young lad called Ego.
Let's just say he's very appropriately named. He chose the correct name for what he's like as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one last one that I can give to you that's actually good. So this is, it's not really 2 truths, 1 lie. It's just guess the order. Out of the following 4 players, who do you think has the most to least Gnar games? And you can guess the number as well.
Oh
if you
my
want. So you've got Enpa, you've got Coated, you've got AS Esports as a team because LLT and 2T have been switching between them, and you have Nigia.
Okay, are we talking split or are we talking career?
This split.
Oh, that makes it much more interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise Coated would probably win easily.
Probably. Actually, no. I reckon
Emperor
I don't.
hasn't
Coated
been
didn't
in the
play a lot of
league.
Nara in spring.
Yeah, but he has been in the league for a few years now. Emperor is...
Oh, you're saying all time rather
Yeah.
than okay, yeah, fair.
Okay, we have Coated, Enfer, Nagia, and AS Esports as a whole.
Yeah.
AS Esports has played by far the fewest games of any team because they got stomped in the first 5 series of the split. So, by virtue of that alone, I'd say they are probably last.
Okay.
Enper has played a decent amount of now.
So, how many games do you think AS Esports have played on now?
How many games have they played in general? They're on 8 series. Their last 3 series on 3 games.
8 series. I think
The
they've probably played
19
like 19
games. Yeah, 19 games.
I'll double check.
Or 18 or 19 games.
They played 18 games.
So, I don't know, 8 games of now? Maybe less. Maybe 6 games.
You're very close. They played 7 games on now.
Okay.
So I'll
7
give you
is
points
so
for that.
much, man. What the... Holy... Nagia? Nagia has not played as many Naga games, I think. Nagia's on 4 games.
Nigia's on 4 games of now, you think? Do you want me to tell you if that's correct, or would you like to try to get the other?
That sounded like it's very wrong. Okay.
I mean,
that's really funny.
I'm a very good actor, you're right.
Okay. Now, I think it's... Emperor... What's the other option? Coated.
Coated.
Enper's played a lot of counterpick things, but I think he's also played a lot of Gnar. Enper's played a lot of like Jax and Gwen and stuff. I think Enper's on something like 9 Gnar games and then 6 Gwen games. I think I've checked his stats this week.
Okay.
So I think Enper's the highest. I think he's probably on 10 now after the last series. I can't remember. Did he play a Gnar game? Probably. So I'd say Enper's on 9 or 10. Let's say 10.
Okay. And the final one left is Coated.
No idea. I didn't check his stats, I think. Ugh. Coated has... let's say 6 Gnar games. So it's Enper, AS Esports as a whole, Coated, and then Nagia.
So you were originally bang on with Emperor. 9 Gnar games, 6 Gwen games. It still is 9 Gnar games.
Okay, he didn't actually play.
As you said, AS Esports 7, 5 of them by LLT, 2 of them by 2T. Nigia 7 Gnar games and 6 Gwen games. So he's been spamming that a lot. The final one is Coated 8 Gnar games.
Well, they're all so close together. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, 2 between them. I
got Enper correct.
Yes. I should have got like an easy option in there and put, I don't know.
Who has played the fewest Gnar
Hero,
games?
probably.
Maybe. Everyone has been spamming Gnar, probably, yeah.
Kiai? No, Kiai has played a bit.
Kiai started the split with trying to counterpick with...
Oh no, Kiai's got 6 Gnar games, never mind.
Yeah, everyone has played so much.
Yeah. Hero has 3 games, Hasmed only has 2. So
Hasmed actually makes a lot of sense, yeah. I think Hasmed has never been the greatest Gnar player. He really likes to counterpick Gnar with Aurelia and stuff.
So, funny thing about that, Hasmed has won both of his games and has a 10 average KDA on Gnar this split.
He is a PoC player. He can play anything. So.
True.
Surprised me. Okay, I have one last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is... might have spoiled it earlier, but let's see. Maybe you don't remember. Okay.
My memory's terrible, so...
Nice. Okay. So, option number 1, or opinion number 1, I should say. No team will end the split with more than 10 serious wins.
Right.
Opinion number 2, Cerberus will miss playoffs. And opinion number 3, Tarky's the best support in the league.
So, Cerberus missing playoffs, like 100% you'd say that. Tarky is the best support in the league. No, because you'll think B is a better support. Taki's very, very good support and probably the second best, but B's a bit better. And the first one was no team will get 10 wins. Well,
More than 10.
more than 10. So GAM are currently 5-3. So they're on 8 series and they've got another 5 to go then. 6. They've already played SBTC. So if they win every other series,
They would
they
go to
would be
11.
fine. They would get to 11. Whereas Team Secret are on 7. So they would need 4 wins. And they've got Saigon Buffalo. So you'll think Saigon Buffalo will beat them. You'll think they'll beat Cerberus. You'll think that they beat Team Wales. You should think that they beat ASE Sports. Then they've got GAM and SBTC. So it's on 10. Ah, I see what you've done here, Yoy. This is very clever of you. Ah. It's between the first and I think it was the third that I said. It's definitely not the second. And I'm fairly confident about your opinions on B as a support, so I'm gonna go with the first. I don't think you think any team's gonna get more than 10 wins this split.
Yeah, that's correct. So the first two were the ones I believe, and Taki's the best support in the league. It's the one that is Bait. I don't think he's. I think he had times before where he was the best. Right now, I think he's good, but not the best. He's not actually that impressive. Like he's just having a decent split. Other people in his team, I think.
Wait, what was your second one again?
The second opinion here.
Yeah.
Cerberus will miss players. Yeah, you bang on. That's something I definitely believe.
You believe?
Yeah, I do.
Wait, you think Cerberus are making playoffs?
No, they will miss players.
Oh, they will miss players. Okay, fair.
So yeah. You completely saw through me. You got every single one from me correct. That is very impressive.
It's all because we cast it together on Thursday. That's what it is.
Well, I think that's probably all we have prepared for today. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? The MVP discussions? Did you actually get to do the MVP discussion?
MVP discussion? What, of the split so far?
Yeah, like mid-split MVP.
Ooh, mid-split MVP. Sadly, you can't give it to B because he's only playing like 4 games, 2 series. So, Team Secret, it would be Artifact, SBTC. It's really hard actually to decide between Emperor and Dia1. And then B&J's been really good for Saigon Buffalo. So, personally, I think it's between those 3.
That's a good lineup.
Who would I give it to? We were talking about Emperor being a bit coin flippy. I don't think Emperor is like massively coin flippy though. I don't know.
I don't actually think he's actually very consistent in what he's doing. It's just what he's doing inherently is very high variance. That makes sense. He goes for it all the time. And he's actually very good at it too. But it's not the best way to play League. It's kind of hard to describe. To me, he doesn't really play like a pro player. And that's true to... actually, that's kind of true for the whole team. That's why I kind of hate SBTC. Even though they're cool to watch. But I don't really like them being good. Because I don't think it's very good for pro play. To have a team that's so... undisciplined. I guess maybe that's the word to use, but just not very... They just play like they're in a scrim game every single game on stage, which not in love with.
Yeah, I think I would give it to being... I think at the end, for me, it's between B&J and Emperor. I don't think between Dia1. I think B&J and Emperor.
I think for me it's Artifact right now.
Artifact, fair. Yeah.
It's really hard to decide the split so far, I think, because we don't really have many same role MVP candidates. Like, it's all different roles, right? B&J
Yes.
Enper, top lane, mid lane. You could even say one ADC. I think the only reason we don't have an ADC candidate right now is because all of them are so impressive. So you can't really single out one of them, right? If you look at ADCs in our point system, I think the highest MVP score is Celebrity. Yeah, Celebrity. Yeah. Celebrity, yeah, I think Celebrity actually has a decent claim as well. Like, I have been very impressed with Celebrity. But yeah, I think I would just
slowly growing on you.
I would just choose Artifact. I think he's the most consistent. Yeah. He's the only mid laner I would be not super worried about internationally, I think. The only VCS mid laner I would be kind of okay with going international. And I'm saying that as a Froggy fan, but...
What about Glory? Like, I know Wales aren't going to make it, but I feel like Glory would perform well internationally.
True. Glory could be another one. Glory is so up and down, though, in performance. I don't know. Feels like Glory is... Coin flippy is maybe the wrong word to use for him, but very streaky. Like he has streaks where he's the best player in the league for 2 weeks, and then he just disappears completely.
Oh my god, he had those 2 games. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Oh my god, that Rise.
I don't know. I think Glory has so much potential, but I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have Gam that high up originally. I forgot that they should have lost to Team Wales.
They had a lot of dicey games. They're not really that clean. Like. That's one of the issues with GAM. They're not really stomping the league. Even though they're on a win streak now, they're still dropping games left, right, and center. So.
I think that's a good thing as well. So, I was going to say, so talking about how close the MVP votes are between so many different roles as well, are you ready for us to get to the end of the season and then the entire MVP team just to be all GAM players again?
I think I have to kill someone if that happens.
I swear, man.
If someone puts Kiaya in number 1 spot, I am going to cry. Because so many times I've pushed for Kiaya. He's my favorite VCS player of all time. I wrote articles about this dude, but he does not deserve to be number 1 right now in top lane. He does not. You just have to look at his performance. It's not good enough. Please.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end with a very quick look at the next week and your 2 favorite series.
Oh, 2 favorite series of the next week. Well, Saigon Buffalo Team Secret should be a banger, and GAM Saigon Buffalo. Those are the big series that really stand out to me. I think those should be really good to watch.
They should actually really shape the expectations for the next 2 weeks as well, because. Yeah. We're coming in on a really high for Saigon Buffalo and for GAM as well. And Secret won both of the series this week as well, because all of these teams are on win streaks. So if Saigon Buffalo is able to go 2-0 this week,
they're not.
That would be insane.
Yeah,
that would be really insane.
And then I'm going to laugh at you in Clockwork.
Yeah, you can. You're certainly entitled to do that. After Saigon Buffalo stomps Secret to the ground in 20 minutes in game 1, I'm going to laugh at you.
Yeah, and then the 2-1 win for Team Secret. We're like,
you know it's gonna come. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Freaking Secret, man. After the lost game 1 against SPTC this week, they got stomped. They got obliterated in game 1. Every single lane got smashed. I was like, oh no, Secret, it's happening again. And then they still won the series somehow.
They're gonna reverse sweep both series in playoffs as well to win the title.
I love them, but they're weird. I don't know. I don't trust them. Not at all.
Do we trust any team in the VCS? Let's be real.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I trust Genius to suck.
Yeah. We trust Genius to suck, and we trust Hanke to not pick Elise.
I think you can say that about every single coach in the world, but especially Hanke, of course.
Yeah. No, we do love Hanke, but I like to meme the Elise pick, for my boy Spoods.
Well then, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for hanging out with me, Milky, even after Clockwork just bailed on us. Like that, in the middle of the podcast. Rude. Clockwork, rude. No, of course, he had to go. Very, very unfortunate. But we are going to be back on Thursday. We are starting the week with, let me quickly check the schedule. Oh, AS Esports completely obliterating GAM and ruining their playoff spans. OG just stomping Style to the ground. Let's make it happen. And then Genius Esports trying to win a game against SPTC. That sounds like a series with 200,000 kills. So should be interesting, should be fun. You're casting those two series, I think, so...
Yeah, me and Quincy. Hopefully Quincy doesn't ditch me this time, but who knows.
I'm here. Step in.
Let's go.
Not actually sure if I can this week, but whatever. Have a good night, everyone, and see you on Thursday on VCS English right here.